Hey guys, Brian here from Vintage Classic Specialist. Happy Thursday, everyone. It is time for another episode of Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialist. So I only worked about a half a day in the shop today, so didn't really start working until about 1. So kind of a short day for me. I had some personal things I had to take care of this morning. However, I started my day at 1 o'clock by taking this baby here, the 54 Barndoor, for what I like to lovingly call the torture test. And it's kind of like usually about the final check test run that I do on a car to make sure that everything is, working as expected and the motor is pulling like it should and not running too hot. So it's a loop that I make, if you're familiar with the area, kind of around Orange and Anaheim Hills. There's some pretty long, pretty steep hills over on that side of Orange into I guess it's like Anaheim Hills over there. Like to take and really like load the motor up, do it in like a relatively high gear, and try and build some cylinder pressure. And so yeah, I did that with this one, did great. I did those steep hills in third gear. Probably could have like buried the pedal a little bit more and done it in fourth, but third seemed like a comfortable gear. And yeah, moving right along. Wasn't really going that much slower than all the other traffic, to be honest with you. And yeah, came back to the shop and checked everything out. Didn't really see any signs of let me turn this off. Yeah, didn't see any signs of any oil puking out or anything like that you might see on a test run like that when you're building good amounts of cylinder pressure. Sometimes if you have a lot of blow by and you really need a breather box, you'll kind of see that. But yeah, I didn't see anything like that. And I did the dipstick test, which those of you that have been around VWs probably know what that is. If you don't, basically when you get back from a good hard drive, long drive, get it fully up to temperature, you can either take it out or do it within the car, is like hold the dipstick like this, like you hold the dipstick. And I don't know, that it's not obviously like an exact science, but you want to make sure you can hold it for what I would say like a while before it's so hot that you have to put it down. And to me, I'm happy if I can hold them for 5 seconds or so, maybe more. Again, I don't think it's not like an exact science, guys, and everyone's kind of tolerance for pain and stuff like that is different. This one though, even after that drive, the torture test, as I like to call it, I could hold the dipstick for infinitely long basically and didn't have to put it down. So to me, I consider that to be like really pretty good oil temperature. Again, don't know what the temperature is. It's a somewhat subjective test, but it's a good one. The mechanics have been doing on these for years, the dipstick test. So, but anyway, yeah, passed the dipstick test even after that relatively grueling drive with all those hills and stuff like that. So yeah, that it passed with flying colors, guys. So tomorrow I will give this poor baby a bath, because as you can see, kind of needs it. It's had one relatively recently, but it's kind of a dusty environment here. There's body work going on, adjacent to our shop, and stuff going on in the shop that creates dust. So our cars always get a little bit dusty, but I will give it a nice bath probably in the morning when it's still cool out. And then the shows start Saturday morning. So first is Octo at Veterans Memorial Stadium in Long Beach. And then Sunday is the VW Revival, which is at, I don't know, some like horse riding park, I think, in Capistrano area. Anyway, so yeah, we're going to be hitting up those 2 shows if all goes well with this car and its owner and his family. So it should be a lot of fun, guys. So look out for this bus. Should be pretty easy to spot because it has a somewhat unique look, I guess, with the wheels and stuff. And yeah, stop by and say hi. Introduce yourself if I don't already know you. But anyway, yeah. Look, there you go. Torture tests approved. So that was a good start to my short day, my afternoon. So after that, I went ahead and continued working on Big Blue here, the air conditioner for it. So again, if you saw yesterday's episode, you'll know that they accidentally shipped me some wrong brackets, so I can't really finalize some of the fitment on the motor itself. But they did send the bracket, the correct bracket, and some other little miscellaneous things that the kit was missing. By the way, so Gilmore Enterprises, there's a relatively new owner, super nice guy named Alejandro. Him and his wife Francesca now run the company. They're based in Florida, and yeah, they're a little bit new to it. So you know, they sent me a couple part or two that was wrong, but not a big deal. And they are taking care of it lickety split, so not a big deal. Anyway, somebody was asking about that. That's not a thing, guys. This is just sitting here on the pivot point right now, and it'll actually rotate pretty far out of the way like that, and the plug wire should clear fine. It'll be close, no doubt, but yeah. And this isn't really even timed right now. That may even move further away. This is not timed. So anyway, thanks for checking, but yeah, there's going to be plenty of room in there. So yeah, waiting on that bracket. So in the meantime, again, you know, the motor and mounting the compressor and its drive belt and the various bracketry and stuff, that's, I'd say, like a relatively small part of the whole here as far as putting an air conditioner in a bus like this. And so today I turned my attention to kind of the ductwork that goes with it. So if you know your Baywindow buses, you know this piece, which has of course been chopped up. So normally this piece picks up from this fresh air ducting here, and it puts air to a couple places. One is it puts air normally to this outlet here, and then it also puts it to one of these defroster things here. And so the way the air conditioner kit works is you actually cut off the branch of this tube that goes here. You leave the one that's going to go to the vent up here, and then this vent actually ties into the air conditioner. So these get cut off, and then you basically cap that off with like some ductwork tape or something like that. And so yeah, I went ahead and cut those off, and then you actually use the end of the piece that you cut off, ends up being kind of the adapter, so to speak, to go to that metal piece right there on the end of the dash. So this plugs into the back of that vent on the dash, and then the other end obviously plugs into the evaporator. So yeah, kind of prepared those, worked on that a little bit. And then the other thing I did was just go through and start digging out all the ductwork for this car. And a lot of it was a little more scattered around than I usually like things to be, but you know, there's just a lot of pieces on these. These go here. If you're not familiar with these buses, there's actually a long duct that runs along the door, and this picks up the air from that. So when the door closes, the duct on the door basically interfaces with this one. And then on the other end of it, when the door is closed, it directs air through here, and that's how the back seat gets ventilation. So anyway, yeah, I just had to dig out a bunch of this ductwork and find it. It was kind of scattered around through a few different boxes, but managed to find it all, clean it all up. So there's this thing here in the middle with a big Y on it, and these defroster pieces here, stuff like that. So I did find everything now, and like I said, cleaned it all up. And then I went ahead, once I had all that stuff, then pretty much mounted the evaporator. It's in here temporarily because I'm gonna probably have the dash in and out of the car, and I still have to put the glove box in and a bunch of stuff like that. But it is actually mounted in here now with its mounting bracket. So there's a bracket kind of like this on both sides. So yeah, I went ahead and got it in, figured out the position kind of left to right, because you do have some kind of latitude as far as where you can put it this way. So I went ahead and positioned it in what seemed like the best spot, and then mounted the brackets like that on both sides. The mounting's actually kind of cool. On the top, it just has these brackets that kind of like hook over this bottom metal piece here of the dash. So it's kind of cool. It's pretty clever, actually. You just, when you put it in, you kind of put it in like this and hook those over, and then you can kind of swing it up like that to where you're picking up these brackets here. I trimmed those brackets a little bit. They were kind of excessively long, so I'll pull them back out and touch up the paint there where I trimmed them. But yeah, this one went to like here, and it was kind of not really how we like things to look. So I went ahead and figured out how much I actually needed and then cut off a little bit past that. We'll touch up the paint there and it'll look factory more or less. So yeah, went ahead and got that mounted, and I just started kind of laying stuff out. I did also today contact I've got a guy I use that has a very good relationship with TMI. So TMI makes great products. I'm of course talking about the company that makes interior panels and seat covers and carpet kits and stuff for these cars. So the problem with TMI is that I think that the VW portion of their business is like minuscule. They do a lot of stuff for like muscle cars and I think a lot of OEM supplying of upholstery. And so honestly, it's like they can hardly be bothered with us, guys wanting stuff for our V-dubs. I like I said, I really don't think they prioritize that part of the business. But luckily, I do have a guy who has inside connections there, and he is going to order me the complete set of interior panels for this bus. And the reason that I can't order them from Wolfsburg West is that bay windows sold in the US are almost without exception a walkthrough, meaning that there's this gap here between the two front seats and you can literally walk through there. So here, I'll show you on this. You guys know what I'm talking about. So on this is obviously not a bay window bus, but yeah, walkthrough, meaning there's an opening between the seats. So this bus, again, one family bus bought by the original family in Europe with the intention of driving it around in Europe for a few months on vacation and then unloading it, fell in love with the bus and brought it back with him. So super cool. And yes, you don't see many buses here with the full bench seat. However, Wolfsburg West doesn't list the interior panel set made for this particular bus with the bench. And so having to kind of reach into my my network and have my guy who has connections at TMI get that order. Because if I try and do it, I've tried to order stuff from TMI before. They, in my experience, again, sorry if anyone from TMI is listening and has something different to say, but I've never been able to get a hold of anyone there on the phone or been able to, get any kind of response from an email or anything. I've had zero luck trying to get any help from TMI. In going at them directly versus through Wolfsburg West or whatever. So can be pretty frustrating. But anyway, yeah, so interior panels are now on order for this. And that's actually kind of a big deal because we did the seats and stuff for this bus a long time ago. They're done and they're being stored right now in our shipping container. But so the next big thing interior wise is then the interior panels. So again, a little bit of a short day, guys. Had some personal stuff to take care of this morning and didn't really get to work till about 1. So that is all I have to talk about. So thank you guys very much for watching, and we will see you again tomorrow. Bye.